Classmates, let's start the class. Today we'll learn about page styles and layouts. In everyday project development, writing page styles and designing layouts are fundamental for many program projects. Page code usually needs to match page styles and layouts to fully implement page requirements. Before developing a project, first understand the basics of page styles and layouts to smoothly proceed with project development. Next, I'll introduce from several aspects. First, let's look at size units. UniApp supports a total of 4 size units. One is px. Px is our most basic and commonly used size unit, representing physical pixels. The default unit in CSS is also px. There are also VW and VH. VH represents viewport height. 1 VH equals 1% of the entire viewport height. What is the viewport height of the entire screen? It's 100 VH. And there's VW, which represents viewport width. 1 VW equals 1% of the entire viewport width. The entire screen's viewport width is 100 VW. Another unit we often use is RPX. It's a unit relative to the screen width, called responsive pixels. It can adapt dynamically based on the screen width. Define the entire screen width of a phone as 750 RPX. RPX can adapt to screens of different sizes. If the screen widens, the actual display effect of RPX will automatically enlarge, thus achieving adaptive page layout. Let's look at an example. What units are used for the height and width of the logo image here? The height is 20 VH, meaning the image height is 20% of the viewport height. And the width, 50 VW. The image width is 50% of the entire screen width. Take a look at the area below. The style is text area. The width is 200 px, and the height is 200 px. This uses pixel units. Now, text area on area. What's the width here? 200 rpx. And the height? 200 rpx. Note that rpx is a relative pixel unit. The entire screen width is 750 rpx. You see the entire screen width is 750 rpx. 200 rpx is approximately this width. As for 200 px, it's determined based on the selected phone's actual pixels. We see this example. Change the phone model. For example, let's switch to iPhone 4. Does this image still occupy 50% of the screen width? Yes, because the image width is set to 50 VW. It occupies 50% of the screen width regardless of the phone. You see, it occupies 50% of the screen width. This one uses px as the size unit. This is rpx. It can adapt to screens, so the commonly used size unit is rpx. It can adapt. That's what our size units mean. Next, let's introduce page styles. UniApp's page styles include global styles and local styles. It also involves the application of selectors and inline styles. First, let's look at global styles and local styles. Global styles apply to all pages, so you don't have to rewrite them on each page. Where are global styles generally placed? In the app view file. Local styles apply to specific pages. When global styles conflict with local styles take precedence. For example, in app view, the background color defined is green. In index view, this specific page uses local styles and defines the background color as gray. So the final background color is gray. The button component in the global style defines the width as 30% of the screen and margin top as 30 rpx. The top margin is 30 rpx. In the local style, the height of the button is 100 rpx. In this case, there's no conflict in styles, so both are applied to the button component. That is, the button width is 30% of the screen, and the button height is 100 rpx, with a top margin of 30 rpx. This is global style and local style. Let's look at this example. In this example, first, in app view, the global style of the page is defined. The background color is green. The button width is 30% of the screen, and the margin top is 30 rpx. Then, let's look at the local style. When there's a conflict between local and global styles, the local style will be used. If there's no conflict, for example, if we cancel the definition of this style, now the background color is green. With this style added, the background color will be gray. The local style defines the button component's height as 150 rpx. This is what we discussed today, global and local styles. Let's take a look at selectors next. Selectors are specific attributes of HTML tags. Students with CSS basics should be familiar with this content. Let's briefly review it here. Such as ID and class. These are specific attributes of HTML tags. In CSS, these attributes can be used to uniformly define styles. Currently, UniApp supports selectors such as class selector, bounded selector, and element selectors, etc. First, let's look at the class selector. The class selector is used with class to define it. For example, what's defined now is list1. List1's style sets the width to 50%, occupying 50% of the entire screen. Here you can see, the style of this button component is list1. The width is 50%. Therefore, the width of the button is 50% of the screen. Second is the ID selector. It selects based on the components it attribute. For example, the text components it attribute value is list2. List2 style sets the color to red. So the text color in the text component is red. Third is the element selector. It defines styles based on component tags. For example, the button style sets the height to 150 rpx. All button components in this page have a height of 150 rpx. There's also a multi-element selector, which can simultaneously define multiple component tags. Tags are separated by commas. What's defined here are view and text tags. Their margin top is set to 20 rpx, and text align is set to center. In the example, you can see the margin top of view and text is set to 60 rpx, which is much larger than the above distance, and the text is aligned center. So all view and text components will apply this style. There are also after selectors and before selectors. These two selectors mainly add specified content before and after component content. The before selector adds hello for the content of the button component. So wherever there's button component content, hello I added before. This after selector means emus is added after the content of the text component. Let's see the example. Wherever there's button component content, hello will be added before. Wherever there's text component content, emuk will be added after. That's our after and before selectors. Third, let's look at inline styles. Inline styles are directly written CSS code inside our HTML tags. It can make the page display different styles, depending on different tag situations. We can use the style or class attribute to control the style of HTML tags. For example, in the development process, the same tag may display different colors under different conditions. For example, stock price changes show red when rising and green when falling. This dynamic style can be used by writing into the style attribute. Static styles are recommended to be written into the class attribute to improve rendering efficiency. Let's see. Static styles are written into class. Dynamic styles are written into style. Bind the color variable. Color represents the color of the stock price change. How does the color change? Determined by the data variable. If data is less than 0, indicating a drop, then the color variable is green, and the style's color property is green. Otherwise, the color variable is red. The color here will be red. Now let's see the result. Now data is 1. Data is greater than 0, so the color variable is red. The color variable is red. The change percentage displays in red. For example, if we change 1 to 5, the result will be green. When data changes to 5, because data is less than 0, the color variable is green. The color variable is green. The change percentage displays in green. That's our inline style. Classmates, in this lesson, we learned about page size units and page styles. These are fundamental aspects of page styles and layouts. Later, we'll learn about more complex topics like flex layout. That's it for this lesson. Thank you, everyone.